Happy Thursday. Wait, today's Thursday. Yes, happy Thursday. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. I haven't said that in a while. Welcome, guys. I missed you all so much. I have not had a chance to do a live in a long time. Hello, my friends. I am so happy to see you guys in the chat. You know, you never know with these things. I was like, I don't know. I haven't been on here in such a long time. I don't know if my friends will be here. I took a chance, and here some of you are. So I am just really happy that you're here. Welcome, guys. I'm just say hi to my friend. I miss you guys so much. Annie is here. Hello, Annie Ballard. Saying hello to Lydia and Lottie. And Emerald is here. Rafaela is here. Hi, guys. Lydia, awesome moderator, is here. Hi, Lydia. I missed you. Hi, guys. Let's see, Teresa. Wait, did I just see Teresa? Teresa, where are you? I thought, well, Nagatula is here. Hello, Nagatula. And Dale is here. And Alma is here. My computer's a little slow, so it's kind of going on delay for some reason. Dolores is here and Sylvia's here. Hi, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Cinderella is here. Always remind me of Spinderella. Here's Teresa. Hi, guys. Welcome, everybody. And all of my 108 friends who some of you are not in the chat at the moment. And if others join us, welcome to you as well. I see Louise is here. Hello, new Louise. Hi, guys. Well, again, I have not been on here in quite a while. I've dropped a couple of videos, probably like 2 or 3 in the last like 2.5, 3 weeks. I've been teaching. And you know what happens when you are working with kids? Well, your attention is on the kids, and you know, it's just like whether you like it or not, it's like you prioritize them because, well, they are kids, and you know, they're young teens and they are amazing. I taught them different group, but same program that I taught last summer. And so they are wonderful, and I've been having a great time with them, but it's just the most time consuming thing in the world. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And then when you're trying to do 3 different things all at the same time, it's just like, oh, you have to prioritize. And you're like, okay, the babies get it, even though, you know, they're not really babies. And they would probably really be like, Miss Petal, I'm not a baby. To me, they're a baby because they're little ones. And, you know, I'm older. So for me, they're like little babies. And so, you know, but they think they're grown. They always act like they're grown people. They're not. But they are wonderful and fun and creative and curious and maddening and all of the above. You know, and so, but I love them. They are awesome. So if you ever have a chance to teach and really inspire young people, do it, because they need it. They need our encouragement. They need our love and our wisdom and all of those things, because again, you know, we're getting older and they're going to be our leaders. And I'm like, well, you know, we can't depend on other people to train them, especially us in the Black and brown community. We can't expect other people to be inspiring our youth. We have to take that, you know, upon ourselves to make sure that we instill in them things that will help them, benefit them in the future, and, you know, guide them in a way where they could become the next president or the next, you know, president of the country, or, you know, senator, or whatever it is they choose to do. But we need their leadership. So I think all of us, for me, that's my conviction, that it behooves all of us to step in there and really inspire. So that's the thing. That's why I'm doing it, and I get to learn so much from them. They, you know, hopefully they get to learn from me, and we just have fun time creating art together. And so it's just really fun. So that's what I've been doing, and along with a bunch of other things. So that's why I've been able to drop just like a couple of videos in the last like 2.5, 3 weeks. But other than that, I'm here. I've been sort of like keeping an eye on what's going on in our royal world, and with our faves. They're fine. They're in California, Montecito, just minding their business under their tree, no matter what the nonsense is in the tabloid press. And yes, I've seen it. And yes, I was like, nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. That's not news. So I don't even, honestly, the last, 2 weeks, I think I've blocked. And sad to say, I've had to block many squatties for, just some believing and posting all this nonsense. And it's just like, I think after all of these years, we know better. We know better, and we are above that sort of thing. And just sharing nonsense about the Sussexes, and it's just like when they're on their private time, we know what's their private time. It's what we would think of our own private time. And if I wouldn't want someone photographing me on my private time, then I respect other people's private time. So for me, that's not news. And so I will not cover any of that stuff. I don't, one, don't post paparazzi pictures. And so for me, that stuff is not news. And so I will just leave that alone. And unfortunately, I've had to block some of our own because I just don't want that in my feed. And nothing against them. It's just you have to, what you want to see. And you sort of have to curate your social media to fit what it is you're interested in. And I've had to, you know, curate. And that means I've had to set aside some of our own, unfortunately, because I just don't want certain things in my feed. And so, but other than that, our faves are fine. I mean, whatever it is they're doing, again, we're preparing for, and they are preparing for the Invictus games coming up. Hopefully, shortly we may hear word about the Heart of Invictus. And so I'm looking forward to that. So our faves are fine, whatever it is they're doing under their tree with their little babies. Hey, again, I don't want to see those little babies until they're 18. I don't need to see them. As long as we know they're fine, that's all I need. Others think differently, but that's okay. That is okay. So, but I just love this picture. I was like, yes, they're fine. They're doing their thing. So I'm really looking forward to, when they start sharing, whenever that is, they decide to start sharing with us. They tend to do things and then share it with us. So I will be patient and focus on my life and focus on other things. And, there are other royal things that's going on, or other things sort of in that, in that area, that a lot of other things actually that we can focus on. And so leave our faves in peace. And I actually like this phase for them, where they're just in peace. They don't have to they don't have to, share anything. They don't have to, they just could just chill and do whatever they're doing in peace. And I love that for them. I absolutely love that for them. So just stay over there, enjoy your summer. We'll come back to you when you're ready for us to hear about you. What else is happening? Suits is happening. Can I just tell you? I'm telling you, I feel like just about every guy on Twitter is falling all over themselves for Meghan, because they're all in love with Meghan. And I was like, Megan's husband is not going to be too proud, don't be too happy with y'all sitting here like drooling over his wife. I'm telling you, people are falling in love, some of them all over again. A lot of people, like myself, I had not seen, I think, again, I have not sat down and watched this show, but a lot of people, many of them had not heard of it and are now being introduced to Suits. And Suits is number 2. I mean, it was a couple of days ago. It was a number 4, and now it's back to number 2. It has just stayed in the top 5, and it's amazing. So many people are discovering the show, and they are raving about Suits, and especially Meghan. Men and women are falling all over themselves for this woman. Now it's just like, oh, now we understand, Harry. Now we get it. We know why you fell in love with this. She's amazing. She's beautiful. She's, pick an adjective. But people are falling in love with Meghan again. And it's really, really wonderful to see, and Netflix is doing great. I mean, talk about, they have really hit the jackpot when it came to Harry and Meghan. I mean, everything they're pretty much done with them. I don't know that Live to Lead had been as successful, but again, it hadn't gotten the kind of attention and publicity that I think it deserves. And that's something that I hope if they do a second part of it, that they would do more of, so that because it's such a fantastic series, and I think everyone needs to see it. I mean, it definitely hasn't gotten to like where this is, or even the Harry and Meghan docu series. So I just think it's if they do the second part, I just hope they just go knock it out of the park with promoting it, so that people would see it. And so, but yes, I mean, talk about hitting the jackpot with especially Meghan. I mean, gosh, this is an old show. Even her co-star, whatever his name is in that that's in that picture with her, I forgot his real name, but he was even tweeting like, they're surprised that, so many people discovering the show, and it's an old show. It's like, it just, especially like, there was one point, I think like 3 of the series seasons were in the top 10 all at the same time. And it's just like amazing. So they're doing great. My only thing with Netflix is, because we know there's an actor strike going on, and I think Equity is just like, oh, but we work with Equity actors. Can you, so Equity, which would affect us in New York, because if Equity goes on strike, all our theaters here are closing down, and we're like, so a lot of my friends who are members of SAG all on strike now, and then all of our other friends who are Equity are now probably going on strike, which means our theaters or Broadway is going to be closed down because the actors are going to be on strike. And so this is a whole mess. So my thing with Netflix, I know Netflix is all part of the reason why they're striking, and they're not paying, especially residuals and stuff like that. They're not paying actors what they need to be paid. And they've just been sticking their foot in their mouth, especially Bob Iger. And so my thing with Netflix, I hope, I'm supporting them, but I hope that they are paying the actors, paying the suit actors, the residual that is due them, and especially that the series is so popular that they're getting the money equal to the popularity of this show on there. So I hope they're not shortchanging the suits cast, because I was tweeting about that. So I'm like, let's just hope that the suits cast is getting their money, and that Netflix isn't just, getting, because Netflix had, I think they added for the first 6 months of this year, added like about 5 million, above 5 million new subscribers, which they said was double what they had expected. So they're making a lot of money off of these shows. And I hope that they are paying these actors, because that's why actors are and writers and stuff are on strike right now. So thank you, Patrick Adams. Thank you very much. I'm still learning names of people. Patrick Adams, that's the actor that's in the picture with Meghan, and he played her boyfriend. And I think by the end of it, maybe I shouldn't give that away. For people who don't know, that was her boyfriend in the early episodes, and that's what I remembered. I haven't gone to the end yet, so I'll just keep my mouth shut of what I know about the end, just in case. But anyways, and so he's a great supporter of Meghan. I remember with that whole bullying thing, he wrote this whole long thread on Twitter. He just railed on the royal family. So, but it's interesting times. It's interesting what's going to be happening. Again, my thing is pay your actors, because one of the things with Netflix is they did Orange is the New Black. That thing, they created Orange is the New Black. And I used to, I did some work for Orange is the New Black when it was there. I still have not seen that show yet. I was like, one day I will actually see it. And one of the things, a knock on Netflix, is residuals. They have not been paying the actors well from that show. So, let's just hope. Madwell says, Lydia, Mama Jane. Hi, Mama Jane. Mama Jane is saying hi to Lydia. The thing just jumped, so I couldn't click on what I was going to click on. Madwell says, hi, Mad World. She says, Pedal NBC Universal Studio cut back their trees in order to prevent strikers from getting shade while protesting, and that is absolutely a fact. I actually saw the pictures and tweeted about that yesterday. I mean, these large studios are really, really exposing themselves for how despicable a lot of them are. You know, Bob Iger from Disney, that's what I was just talking about a minute ago. Bob Iger is a multi-millionaire from who leads Disney, and he was basically saying that it's not feasible, and it's not it's basically not good business basically for the actors and writers to expect fair pay. And it's just like, you are at this resort where you took your private jet to, you are a multi-millionaire, and you're saying that it's not feasible that the actors should expect to get paid for and the writer. I mean, it's unbelievable what these people are doing. And part of this whole thing, I think, was Netflix. Somebody at Netflix was the one that was saying that, and I'm so funny, I didn't mean to go off on this tangent about Netflix. They were saying that they were going to wait out the writers until some of them start losing their homes and that they're basically homeless. And then they will come back to work right then. So that got leaked. And I think that really sparked the SAG and now Equity and all the others to join the writers in striking, because for you to have that kind of a despicable mentality where people are literally just trying to get living wage. If you're in California, there's a large population of people that literally work for film studios that live in their car. They cannot even afford California rent. And so when you have that kind of thing, and then knowing that you're doing your hard work and these executives are making millions off of your talent, and you can't even pay for an apartment. And then when you decide to strike, their attitude is, well, we're just going to wait them out. Some of them that have homes, but they keep stay on the picket line. They're going to be homeless because they're not going to have money to pay their rent. When you have that kind of mentality, that's a no. That's a no for me. And so it's good to see them. It would be good for the other actors, the ones who are A-list, to join that picket line. That would really make a difference. So yeah. But it's really, really incredible what's going on. And yeah, again, that's sort of the periphery, because Meghan is an actress. And so, now she's a content creator. So I don't know where she stands in that whole thing. I don't know, will she join it? Will she not? Who knows? So, but it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's gonna affect New York as well, and all of us would be like, oh no, So, but again, if you don't stand up for each other, yeah, can't expect if you don't stand up for one, then all of us lose in a lot of ways. So. Anyway, so that's some of what's happening in that vein. As I just looked through the chat for a second. Hi, everybody. Let's see what else is happening with our faves. This actually I think was about a week ago. I saw this and I was like, oh my goodness. But again, if you've been following along, if you're in the Sussex Ward, this is not news to you. Hello. Spare is the book that could, that little book that could, and it's been doing amazing. And of course, the best-selling book in 2023 has been, of course, Spare. And this is just for the hard copy cover, not the the Audible version or the Kindle version of a Spare. This is just a hardcover. It says in the UK. Harry Sussex, it's like Harry Sussex, is a prince and a duke. In the US, he is Lord Regent of the bestseller list. I love that. He is Lord Regent of the bestseller list with his blockbuster Spare, written by or ghost written by J.R. Moringer, selling nearly 1.2 million copies and taking the crown for the top-selling title of the first half of the year at outlets that report to Circana Bookscan. And so there's a lady called Colleen Hoover. Don't know her, but apparently she has like I don't know, 7 books or something. That's also part of, but that's for the fiction part, I guess. But Harry is doing his thing. And so again, if you're in the squad, you're like, but of course he's doing his thing. It's just, and I think, look, unless someone come up with some mind-blowing book, I think this is what's going to be for the year. And so for my thing is like, you know what? Pulitzer Prize, you know. I don't even know when they vote for those things. I have no idea. But I was just like, give it all to Spare. I mean, Spare's basically been holding up the book in the publishing industry. And, you know, it's been a little bit slow, and Spare has been the book that's been there. Again, this book came out on January 10th, and Spare is still there. So it is absolutely awesome. Mama Jane, thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I saw one that went by me, and I've been trying to find, and I cannot find it. So as soon as I find the one that went by me, but Mama Jane, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And as soon as I find the other, I don't know why these things just jump like this. But thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate it. Oh, here we go. Carlita Snow, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for all of your support on here, hanging out with me for a little bit, chatting royal stuff. What else is going on? Let's see. In the world. Let's see. Teresa's like, Nacho is definitely a true friend and a brother. He's Ari's only brother. If you're a squatty, that's the only one we recognize. Absolutely the only one we recognize. It's just like, I love Nacho. And hi, Church Nelly. How are you? Is Church Nelly here? Did I miss Church Nelly? Our awesome moderator. I see our awesome moderator. Cookies and Cream is here. And she's like, Dale, I missed you. So yes, Nacho, man, is definitely the only bro we recognize for Harry in any situation. I mean, the other on Shutter Island we don't even consider. You know, that's Diana, other son. That's it. That's about the only thing we say for him. And people, you know, talk about Spare. People are literally still discovering Spare. It is the most amazing thing. It is wonderful to see that, you know, we are in July. We're almost the end of July, and people are just discovering and still doing book reviews on Spare. You know, I saw this on Twitter. Was it a day or so ago? Oh, the 15th, a few days ago. And it's like, you know, Despair by Prince Harry. My guru says the way of karma is unfathomable. Read this book to understand the gravity of this wisdom completely. Terrifically written, heartbreakingly sad, numbingly melancholic, and teeth-grindingly frustrating. There's all of that in there. Spare makes you relish your banality, being a commoner. Yeah. This is the story of Prince Harry, narrated by himself, as naked as he can be, striking, revealing, deeply painful. I recommend it as a must-read. The tale of a young boy who will forever traumatized by loss of his mother, terrible relations with his family, and constant torture by the press. A must-read. So yeah, I mean, spares a lot. But you know, you forgot the love story part. That's the only part he forgot. But you know, different things impact different people depending on your perspective on things. So but it's great to see people are still discovering it and still reviewing it. I'm sure Harry must be so happy, you know, that is the situation, that people are reading. And when you look at his comments, just about everybody in the comments like, whoa, okay, I gotta read it. So it's wonderful to see, you know, 6 months in and people are still in that place. So yeah, absolutely. And I know, like seeing in the chat, Nacho. I will get to that in a second. We're sitting on our faves, good news stuff in a minute. And this is, I didn't even realize. I mean, I guess I didn't really pay attention to this. I'm not into fashion stuff, so I think that's this sort of thing to sort of, you know, go over my head. Hey, Karen M. I see you there. Awesome moderator. Hello. I miss you, my dear. I just have to say hello to Miss Karen M, our awesome moderator. And so I saw this popped up, and it's like, it just came from the National Museum of Scotland beyond the Little Black Dress exhibition. This was the, I've just come. She's, you know, the tweeter, Brazen Hussy. It's like I've just come from the National Museum of Scotland beyond the little black dress exhibition. This was the highlight for me, and it was like I guess a replica or kind of the dress that Meghan wore, and obviously we remember on the Oprah interview. And this is a little bit of what the little blurb next to the dress says. Members of the royal family frequently communicate messages through their outfits. I don't know what they think Meghan is communicating, but this LBD, little black dress with decoration, was chosen by Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, for her exclusive interview with Oprah Winfrey in March 2021, which was viewed by more than 60 million people worldwide. Reportedly, the Duchess, then pregnant with her daughter Princess Lilibet, chose the lotus flower design because of the flower's association with rebirth, self-regeneration, and resilience. I think I missed that part. I never knew that part. Courtesy of this association with viral television moment, this LBD was selected by Ibrahim Kamara and Garrett Wrighton for Dress of the Year 2021. This accolade marks the power of a dress to define a moment in history, becoming imprinted in pop culture psyche. Who knew all of this for a dress? I mean, really? For me, it's just a dress with some black stuff on it. I mean, some white stuff on it. I had no idea it had all this meaning. Who knew? I guess I'll pay a little more attention to fashion. But it was just very interesting to me. I was like, oh, I had no idea. Florida, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys, I appreciate your support so much. Thank you. Much appreciation. What else is happening? Harry's company. We know Harry's up better up. Like I said, there's stuff happening around the Sussexes that, other areas of their life other than, meddling in their personal life. Yes, R.R. Carter says, yeah, Meghan was pregnant and looked fabulous in this dress. She did. She looks fabulous. I'd love to see her wearing it again. At some point. And so, but I had no idea that dress had all those meanings about rebirth and like, who knew? I mean, the floral thing on the dress, I no idea. Again, I guess I will pay more attention to fashion. Anyway, so Better Up they're doing great things. They're growing. They have been posting about what's been happening with them. It says it's our better uppers who make the place great. We're honored to be recognized as one of Fortune magazine's best workplace for millennials by GPW_US. A big thank you to our employees for all that you do. So Better Up they are just growing and rising. Their influence is growing. It's amazing. Also, they tweeted, Better Up is pleased to share our achievement of an in-process designation granted by the Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program. We are honored to deliver performance and purpose through science-backed coaching to federal, state, and local government customers. So they are working with the federal, local, and state government. And we also know, and I would think this came through Harry, they're also working with the U.S. Air Force. They're also obviously working with Invictus. We saw them at the last Invictus. I'm assuming they'll be part of this Invictus as well. They offer free coaching to Invictus, the Invictus athletes, which are, WRI's wounded and injured servicemen personnel, I should say. And so they are growing and they are doing amazing things. I was like, you go Better Up. So things are, going with associations that Harry and Meghan have. And coming up on August 2nd, they are actually teaming up with Microsoft Viva to have this seminar. And so that's coming up. So, definitely I'll put the link. Oh, I actually forgot to put the link. So I will have to remind myself to put the link in the show notes. So if you want to be part of that, that's coming up. And it says more special guests announced alongside these luminaries. Mark your calendars. Episode 1 drops August 7th. Learn more about Better Up and Microsoft partnership here. So they have partnering up with I mean, hello, partner up with Microsoft. That is awesome. And on your right, you'll see some of the athletes and people that's going to be a part of their seminar with Microsoft, like Maria Sharapova. Remember her? She's actually she's a tennis player who was, when she was playing, thought to be a nemesis of Serena because she did beat Serena at that very memorable Wimbledon a few years ago, and I think she was like unseated or something when she beat Serena. So they apparently had this so-called rivalry, which by the end of it, Serena and her were like, Serena was like 20-2 over her. And by the end, people were like, this is not a rivalry. But if don't tell that to the press, so there was thought to be this rivalry because there were some little comments on both sides. But it turns out, a couple of years ago, they hung out at the Met Gala, and I guess reconnected and realized they actually really liked each other. And so now they're great friends, and so she is now part of Better Up and doing this with Better Up. So I can only imagine Serena got her in on that, because we remember Serena was part of a Better Up conference a little while back last year. And so they have Aurora James and all of those people that are there from different areas, including Michaela Cole and all of those that's going to be there. So Better Up is doing great things. I'll put the link to, if you want to, get that in the information or see the seminar or whatever, you'll be able to do that. Or you can just jump on Better Up as well. They have it on their side. Andrea, thank you. Oh, wait. Always. We'll come back to this in a second. Annie. Andrea, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys are so generous. I appreciate it. But thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. So anyway, I'm just trying to get the Harry and Meghan good news stuff, first because we know what's coming up. And this, if you don't know, there was obviously, with all the stuff going on with Dan Wootton, there are... Of course, the British press will try to distract, because why? They're all up in this. And, it's so funny. I tweeted probably a couple of hours ago. I'm like, if somehow you are of the mindset that the Sun or the Daily Mail or even GB News, even though GB News has only been around for a couple of years now, and this investigation by Byline Times, who had the exclusive on this whole Dan Wootton mess, and they started and also the Guardian, now we're understanding, they started their investigation into Dan Wootton 3 years ago, much earlier than GB News has been in existence. I mean, if you believe that the Sun or the Sun, the Daily Mail, and their companies, and even GB News had no idea what Dan Wootton was doing, and no idea of his history of harassing people and all of this stuff that he's accused of. If you believe that these people had no idea, there is a few bridges in New York I would really, really, really love to sell you. Because you really have to be really, really stupid to believe that Dan Wootton did not know what was happening. So obviously, because we all know that the Sun, the last episode I, was reading and I we were looking at an article from Private Eye that talked about the Sun, specifically the Sun. They said that his former employee, he's back, he's now at the Mail on Sunday. His former employee, which they refer to would have been the Sun, that they were paying people off, to basically shut up and not say anything about what Dan Wootton was doing, especially in terms of bullying and stuff, and also it even referred to him making advances on his younger support people that were working under him, that they, even to the point where they moved the person into another department so they don't they don't have to work with him. They all knew what he was doing. So right now they're pretending like, oh my goodness, we didn't know, bringing lawyers and all of this stuff. And what the Sun and the Daily Mail are doing right now, until we get more word from Byline Times, who's apparently supposed to drop a new article. They were supposed to do it yesterday, but apparently it's going to be done today at some point. What they are doing now is basically distraction. They're just putting all that stuff. And who do they use to try to distract? Of course, the people that they've always been trying to scapegoat, Harry and Meghan. So you see all these ridiculous articles, about Harry and Meghan. And the funny thing about it is nobody's believe, even their own people, even their own people who would normally be screaming about these stupid articles are not even believing them, because it's very obvious what they're doing. They're trying to distract people from the fact that they're all culpable for what Dan Wootton has been doing. They're all in the boat together. Because why keep someone who's been doing what Dan Wootton has been doing for 10 years? Why employ him unless you are benefiting from his mess? So it is one of those things. And if you're not, then why are you, right now, again, with those articles from earlier, it is especially Private Eye talking about them paying people off. Why would you be paying people off and to protect someone if you weren't benefiting from him? So obviously one of Rupert Murdoch's tabloids, I guess they were inciting other ridiculous US ones that have no credibility whatsoever with these nonsense about the Sussex's relationship. So Nacho, basically under one of them, one of our squaddies posted screenshots of it. Apparently Nacho wrote BS under the article. So everyone now has been sharing that. And apparently someone said they took the article down, or they took the post down, the New York Post, they took that post down about the Sussex's relationship. They may have posted it again. I don't know. I'm like, I blocked them for this very reason. But it's one of those things where we have to expect that. But it was very funny because just those two letters has been like, everyone just been sharing it all over the place about Nacho calling them out for their nonsense. But I think that's the thing. It's kind of like, as a squad, we know this stuff. We know that they were going to do it. We know that they're trying to distract people from the fact that they are all responsible. They all have a part to play in what Dan Wootton has been able to do. The fact that he still works at the Daily Mail, the fact that he still works at GB News, the fact that the Sun, even though according to a Private Eye, they've paid people off, instead of reporting Dan Wootton to the cops, firing him, reporting what he was doing to their own staff. And if you've read Byline Times, you saw what they were doing to even staff while he was at the Sun, doing it to their own staff. And now what they're done is they apparently, the Sun brought in, the Sun and their other outlets brought in outside lawyers and asked their employees to speak to those lawyers and don't speak to other journalists, to which one of the Byline Times reporter tweeted, like, aren't those people they're telling to go speak only to journalists, only to reporters and not to journalists? Aren't those people actually supposedly journalists? To which I say, no, they're hacks. They're not, they call themselves journalists, but they're not, But it's one of those things where it's kind of like, but you all knew this was happening. HR, according to the Private Eye article, your own HR knew all of this was happening. He was doing this, to other people. Other staff members that was a part of your organization. You're trying to pretend now like this is the first time you're hearing this. It's nonsense. Again, if you believe this is the first time they're hearing this, there's a few bridges I'd love to sell. A whole new. But kudos to Nacho for, again, standing up for his brother. Again, that's why Nacho is the only brother we recognize, So, and it's so funny because I see Nissan has also been doing his thing as well on Twitter, been retweeting all of those articles about Dan Wootton. It's like, yeah, we see you and we're not buying the ridiculous distractions, and that's all they are. And the only thing I say, just don't click on them. Do not give them attention. Don't try to, which is what they want to do. They want, especially the squad, to come and argue with them. All they're looking for is attention and engagement. That's it. And they will keep with these articles as long as we keep clicking on them. There is no reason why a squaddie need to click on these articles. There's no reason that we need to spend any energy even talking about them. And these articles, these distracting articles about Harry and Meghan, there was no reason. There's literally no reason to, because we know that that's what they're going to do, and we know why they're doing it. But it's good to see that many people just was like, no, we're focusing. It's about Dan Wootton. We're not we're not backing down from it. So yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Um, let's see. Before we get to other stuff, let's see what else is there. This is Misan. I love this. Misan, again, he's so positive, but he did and if you don't know, Misan is a great friend of Harry and Meghan. He's the one that took Meghan and Harry's photo when Meghan was pregnant with baby Lilibet, and she was laying on Harry in their beautiful garden under a tree. That's the tree we like to think of them really under. And so Misan was doing a seminar, which he does a lot of, and he's like, I failed and failed and failed until I didn't. And I love that. It was so inspiring. Actually, I'm going to share that with my kids on Monday. But this is, and I just love it. And these are the kind of people that Harry and Meghan associate themselves with. And, he talks about, just getting away from Wootton for a second. Misan talked about, just where, someone who is extremely dyslexic, and just all the times that he didn't believe that he can be a success, until the day 4 years ago when his wife bought a camera and put it in his hand. And now Nissan Harriman is doing amazing. He has been photographing, he's like one of the big photographers for British Vogue. He obviously with Meghan Harry, he photographs all of these celebrities all over the place. And I mean, it is amazing what he's doing. And he literally just picked up a camera 4 years ago. And so now he does all of this, motivational speaking. He also supports and advocates for Save the Children. It is amazing what he's doing. So no wonder him and Harry and Meghan are such incredible friends. And also too, he and his wife, they have an interracial marriage. So that as well, that they can be able to support Harry and Meghan in that way, and Meghan and Harry support them in that way. So it's really wonderful to see. And I love, talk about Nacho. This is also a bro that for Harry and Meghan just sits up and speaks up for them all the time. So it's really wonderful to see. So anyways, moving on. Yes. Finally, it's so funny. I don't know if you guys have noticed just how slow the British so-called mainstream press got into this, because when Hugh Edwards, that whole mess happened, and even with Philip Schofield, all of the British press jumped in, especially Dan Wootton, who was ready to kick Schofield into hell and lock the hell's gates and never Schofield come out for no redemption ever. That was Dan Wootton's attitude until that Private Eye article came out, and then that rendered him mute until today, or when he spoke about stuff on his show a couple of days ago. But it is just incredible that, just watching the British press, like when the whole thing came out with Hugh Edwards, nobody had stepped forward to say that, yes, this is true. All they had to go on was the Sun blasting out these major so-called exclusive with no evidence, with no corroboration, only to find out later that the so-called victim, the kid, who is now like 20 something, I guess, 20 years old, whatever he is now, told the Sun that this was not true. This kid's lawyer told the Sun that it was not true. That didn't stop them. They blasted this out. How many articles? Like about 20 articles of this stuff, and the rest of the British press just ate it up. When this stuff came out with Dan Wootton, with actual evidence, with actual people who said and who have alleged that he has raped and he has, bullied, hacked, all of that stuff, people who said they were actual victims of this guy, the British press was mum, completely silent. It was crickets. They would not say a word. They would not touch it. For like a day and a half, none of them would say anything about it other than Byline Times and independent outlets and blogs, and of course, us on Twitter blasting it everywhere. And then finally, the Guardian came out with theirs like a day and a half later. And it was just like, where, what is happening? There's actual evidence here, and none of them would touch it. And so, which got me to think, like, goodness grievances, what does Dan Wootton have on these people? What does he have on these people? And, no, learning that he has been doing this stuff for 10 years, heaven only knows what he has on these people, including, I would assume, members of the royal family. Because the press has just sort of like, and even when they're talking about this stuff, if you notice, they're all doing it from his perspective. That he spoke about it and said that, that these dark forces are trying to, do all this stuff to him, and with his, fake tears on his show on GB News, claiming it was all like a, witch hunt against him and all of this nonsense. That is what they're reporting. Not very few of them, if any at all, have actually delved into the actual allegations. They're all coming from the perspective of Dan Wootton has denied all this. And the dark forces out there, and those forces on Twitter. And meanwhile, he's the one that's been trolling and abusing Harry and Meghan on his Twitter account all of this time. Yet he's out there claiming that forces on Twitter are trying to destroy him and GB News. And the rest of the British press refused to delve into the actual evidence against them. The actual people who have not hiding, their names and faces are there. They are not hiding. And they are claiming this every single day. Yet the British press, members of the British press, even though like the ITVs and the Independents and the Times and all of these, well, I don't think any of Rupert Murdoch's press is even talking about it. But the so-called legit ones, GB News, all of them, if they touch on it, it's all from Dan Wootton has said this is, even BBC. Dan Wootton has said it's not true. And none of them are touching on the actual accusations. None of them are touching on it. And it's really, really sickening to watch. And so again, I ask, what does Dan Wootton have on those people? And so this was the first, really news outlet to really. So if you hadn't seen it, you may have seen this. I'm assuming Baron may have talked about it, or Duchess of Success may have already talked about it. But for those of you who may have not seen it, this is a little bit of that article, which is from The Guardian, which is the first outlet to have actually picked it up. It says, the new News UK hires. News UK is part of the Rupert Murdoch media, which is the Sun, Talk TV, and the Times, and all of those. Those all fall under News UK, Rupert Murdoch news outlet in the UK. Says News UK hires lawyers to look at claims against former Sun columnists, and Dan Wootton is accused of offering colleagues, some of the Sun colleagues, tens of thousands of pounds for sexual material. It says the Sun's parent company has hired external lawyers to help investigate very serious allegations regarding Dan Wootton's time at the tabloid, The Guardian has been told. Rupert Murdoch News UK asked staff to contact its most senior lawyers if they have any information regarding the claims. They promised that all information would be treated in confidence, offered counseling services to anyone affected, and asked employees not to talk to journalists. Why? I mean, the employees are literally supposedly journalists. So they're asking those journalists not to talk to journalists outside of their paper, I guess, while inquiries are underway. Employees were told the matter reported are obviously very serious and include allegations that certain actions of Mr. Wootton may have affected some members of staff at the Sun. May have affected, according to the allegations, even a close associate to Rebecca Brooks, senior official at News UK. that affected Dan Wootton went after that person as well. Wooten's ex-boyfriend at the bottom, Wooten's ex-boyfriend have publicly linked the TV presenter to the branding pseudonym that Byline Times has also quoted as anonymous former colleague who claimed Wootton had acknowledged his involvement. Wootton has not denied the allegation. Guardian has not been able to independently establish a link between Brannon and Wootton. So the Guardian is doing their own investigation. And so they have not been independently able to, apart from that, they said they have not been able to establish the link from their 3-year investigation. But also part of the article, they also said, or I'm sorry, I think it was a later article, they said that they interviewed 10 present and former staff members from The Sun who said that they too have been contacted by Martin Brannon, aka Dan Wootton, and the same request was there that they provide sexual material to Martin Brannon, aka Dan Wootton. So they are doing their thing, and they are also, I guess, I don't know if they're sort of working with Byline Times as they report this, but they are sort of saying some of the same things as what was reported in the Byline Times article. So apparently, and so again, Byline Times article dropped a couple of days ago. They were supposed to drop the second part of their investigation yesterday, but yesterday they tweeted that they're getting new information in. So if we can give them some time while they fact check them, and of course they have to run through legal checks as well to make sure that they're legally sound, whatever it is they're reporting. Apparently it's supposed to drop today. We will see. And so in the meantime, the two Dan Wootton's former boyfriend and the other gentleman, Kev Sutherland, I think his last name is, the one who accused him of a rape, they are not silent. They are on Twitter. They are staying there, and they're like, we are not going to shut up. We are going to keep talking until everything is out there. So they are still out there. They are not hiding. They are not hiding their face or their names. They're just out there. And so all of this is going on. And so, again, the Sun and the Daily Mail, especially, when they're not trying to distract with stuff with the Sussexes, they are basically trying to pretend like, oh, who us? We didn't know. We're going to get lawyers, and those lawyers, you can come and talk to those lawyers. It's going to be confidential. Really? As we learned, while during the court case for the Mirror, where the one Harry just finished testifying, what we learned, as all of those things have been exposed is, and we've talked about it here before, is that some of these tabloids have been blagging and hacking their own people. Again, they've been blagging and hacking their own people. So if I were one of their staff members, do you think I would trust them that whatever I say would be confidential? And especially knowing that they didn't do anything when this was happening while Dan Wootton was there. Like, would I do that? That is crazy. That is crazy. And then to claim to actually pretend like they didn't know this. I mean, hello. Again, there wouldn't be a court, as Private Eye said, that they paid off some staff. If they didn't know and their HR didn't know what was happening, and why would they be paying off people and then keeping Dan Wootton? You cannot tell me they didn't know what was happening, So it's just, who knows what the second part of this, but again, this all started, Byline started with, this whole thing with Dan Wootton and paying people for information, paying boyfriends for information, all started 3 years ago in 2020, when Prince Harry's team, filed a complaint about this whole thing because there was that report in Byline Investigates. Again, we have Byline Investigates and we have Byline Time. Byline Investigates, which is, this was that's like I almost want to say that they're like sisters because of course, we've been talking about the guy who used to work at Byline Times. They sort of had a fall off, and he just sort of went off and started Byline Investigates. They reported in 2020 about Dan Wootton paying the boyfriend of Christian Jones. Christian Jones, he's the Prince Harry at the time. He was working for both Prince William and Kate and Prince Harry and Meghan. They used to share staff at the time. That Dan Wootton, that was the accusation, that Dan Wootton paid the boyfriend of Christian Jones, Callum Stevens, I think his name was, $4,000 for information about the Sussexes. And that was, Harry, they filed a complaint about that. Harry wrote about, you referred to that in Spare, about this very close friend of one of the aides of, at that time when he wrote the book, aides of Prince William, that Dan Wootton paid them for information. And so this all started with that whole thing in 2020. And so that 3 years from 2020 till now and I think is what Byline Times, I guess they started the investigation, because Christian Jones claimed he didn't know anything about it. We've all been like, well, how, what is the deal with the boyfriend thing? And then we realized this whole thing with Martin Brannan is how he works a lot of times. He pays off the partner of celebrities to engage in these things and then basically have that, those stuff on the person for blackmail, we think. We will see. But anyways, it is just really, it is a sordid mess. It is an absolute sordid mess. So don't be surprised at anything that they throw out there, of course, using Harry and Meghan as distraction. But it's good to see that the majority of people now are not falling for the nonsense. And again, we talked about the Private Eye article where we talked about what the, Dan Wootton, this is the Private Eye article. And thank you, Archwell Baby, for posting the whole section of the article there. And that in red is what is here. It says the pontification. This is when they dropped this, when Dan Wootton was really kicking Philip Schofield into hell. And so Private Eye dropped this, and then Dan Wootton went mute. And this is what the article said. The pontification of one particular pundit, Dan, however, has left former colleagues gobsmacked, given his own past propensity for sexual harassment, harassing younger male members of staff who worked for him, both inside and outside the office. Members of HR department of his former employee, and they're referring to the Sun, openly admitted protecting him during investigations into his behavior, at least one of which resulted in an employee being moved to another department to avoid his boss's attention, while a number of bullying complaints against the same man resulted in staff leaving with payouts. Asked by Private Eye if these also involved non-disclosure agreements in 2018, a spokesman for the company says, "I'm afraid we're going to have to decline to comment." Again, paying people off. So when they're claiming like, oh, we're going to hire people, and if you want to come and talk about what happened, pretending like they didn't know, nonsense. And ever since this article again dropped, Dan Wootton went mute on Philip Schofield. This was the slap where he went mute. So yeah. So they all knew what was happening. And then it was so funny. Someone posted this, and I saw they had posted this, and they said that this was in 2011. But Celebici, they are on Twitter. They posted this on Twitter, saying that it's this little thing from this. I guess this is like, I don't know if they are like a blog or something. I don't know that they are a news outlet. It might be a blog, but they claim it's pop B word. I don't say that word, but but it's the same as Celebici, I guess. But They claim in 2021 that they heard about Martin Browning then, and this is part of, and I guess it's like a newsletter. Again, I don't really know. I hadn't followed it, so I only learned about this a couple of days ago. But this is what they said, and apparently this was in 2021. It says it is not uncommon or uncertain of media, that word, to assume fake identity in order to take care of some of their more illicit extracurricular activities. Donald Trump used to call news desk as John Barron. For example, Max Clifford used to arrange sex parties as alias Terry Denton. For a while now, we've been hearing some well-sourced whispers that there is someone working in the UK media who has outsourced some of their sketchy work, including odd spots and attempted blackmail, to a secret second identity, Martin Browning. And so we're keen to know a little more about it all. So if you ever had the pleasure of dealing with Martin, I guess email them or whatever. And so apparently this was in 2021. So even way back then, people knew of the name Martin Browning. So this has been going, so which is why I say when they're claiming like, oh, we don't, this is like behaving like this is new stuff to them, it is not. They knew, now is let's hide it behind it. And so hacked off, and I'm so glad with hacked off, and whether it's Byline Times and Byline Investigates. Again, none of these, people from Byline Times, again, as I've said numerous times, none of these people are, they're not saints. A lot of them came from the British, especially Byline Investigates. They came from the British press. Some of them were former hackers. Some of them went to prison, or at least to jail, whatever. And some had suspended sentences, whatever, for phone hacking. So none of these people are, they are not clean, but they have changed they have now changed their ways and are batting on the other side to help reveal all of this thing. So I'm learning now. Byline Time Part 2 Byline Report is now out on Twitter. So I will be checking that in a bit to see what they said about Dan Wootton. Or maybe I will jump over there and we can read it together. We will see. Let's jump. Let me finish this and then I will try to find it on my pad. And so live on here, we can read what it says together. Why not, right? Let's see. Jumping onto Twitter. Unbelievable. Hang on. Hang on. Let's see. It's so funny with them, especially with Dan Wootton and the bullying stuff. Because remember how when that horrible thing came out with Meghan, the lies about bullying, how they all went in on it, and only to know that this is what he has been doing as well. It is unbelievable. So I'm going to read the first part. I can't read their whole article because, well, it's their article, so I can't read the whole article. But this is some of what the article says that just dropped on Byline Times, so we can all hear it together. It says, Byline Times, Dan Wootton was a serial bully at the Sun, but bosses promoted him as complaints were silenced. The second part of a three-year investigation, Byline Time examines the professional conduct of the TV presenter when he was leading editor at Rupert Murdoch's powerful British tabloid. The article says Dan Wootton was the subject of at least 6 bullying claims from colleagues while working for The Sun, but was promoted by the newspaper as complaints were silenced with large payoffs and non-disclosure agreements, Byline Time can reveal. The allegations against the journalist today, a star presenter at GB News and columnist of Mail Online, range from constructive dismissal to age discrimination, while several witnesses have also described a culture of sexual harassment under Wootton. It follows this newspaper's revelation on Monday that Wootton used online pseudonym Martin Browning and Maria Josephs, among others, to trick and bribe scores of men into revealing compromising sexual material for tax-free sums of money up to £30,000. Representatives for Wootton have been asked by this newspaper to confirm or deny whether the presenter was or is connected to Branning. Neither Wootton, in his GB News statement on Tuesday, nor his representatives have yet clarified this point. He denies any allegations of criminality. Byline Times has now spoken to multiple former editorial and support staff at Britain's biggest tabloid, many of whom are fearful of being identified after their experiences working at Murdoch's owned News UK, with one left. Oh my goodness! One left one suicidal, another suffering stress-related hair loss, and another deserting the industry. For that reason, we are protecting their identities, although they are known to their former employer, which last night, in response to a request for comment sent by Byline Times, contacted all staff at the Sun, announcing it was looking into our allegations urgently. Let's see. Hang on. Among questions to publisher, Byline Times asked it to confirm the earliest date of any record. I'm sorry. Among questions to the publisher, Byline Times asked it to confirm the earliest date of any record held digitally or in analog format containing the names Martin Branning and Maria Joseph. News UK declined to respond, but did not deny that all 6 individuals received severance payments contingent to the signing of binding restrictive covenant or non-disclosure agreements. The cost of the legal proceedings and settlements is estimated to be more than £1 million. Its internal email to staff said various allegations have emerged online and been reported over the last few days in relation to Dan Wootton, who many of you will know worked at the Sun between 2013 and 2021. The matters reported are obviously very serious and includes allegation of certain actions of Mr. Wootton may have affected some members of staff at the Sun. We are looking into all these allegations urgently and wish to hear from staff who have been impacted and have relevant information. And the rest of it you can read on your own. I don't want to read their entire article. So this is some of what Byline Times has dropped. So the Sun they're basically on their heels right now. And so again, I guess that's why it dropped, because last night they're like, oh, we were being asked all these questions. So maybe we basically better, look like, one, we care about those employees, and that we better look like we are doing something about what we really know Dan Wootton did. Because again, according to this article, like we just read from Private Eye, they're saying that some of these people got payments up to £1 million, whether it's £1 million each or in total. They've paid off people, they've bought people silence, and then had them sign these non-disclosures where they can never speak about what Dan Wootton did to them. This is the same people who was pretending like, oh, we're going to have like all these, outside lawyers come in, and like, if you didn't know, why did you? And again, talk about bullying. This is the man who was attacking Meghan, calling her for all these, the last couple of years, a bully, yet 6, that's probably what they know. 6 different complaints filed against them. And yet the Sun kept promoting him. And again, I always say, if they didn't know what he was doing, if they weren't benefiting from what he was doing, they would have fired him. They were benefiting. When Dan Wootton is coming up with these juicy so-called stories that he had, they were all benefiting from it. They were making money off of him. That's why they kept promoting him. When your staff is, they come up with all of this, and you're still promoting the guy, that means you're benefiting from him. That's how they work. They're making money, so they don't care. The fact that he went after Rebecca Brooks as somebody close to her and they still kept him until 2021, that's to tell you they were benefiting from it. So it is it is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. And the thing about it, with all the things that Dan was like, oh, these dark forces are after me, they said it's a witch hunt, whatever, he has not denied that he is Martin Branning. He has not denied any of that. He has not denied that, what he did to his former colleagues, because they're all speaking out. And the fact of it is that here it is, we are again at a place where, because of his actions, someone was suicidal. Another person. We all know what he's done to Meghan. We all know what he did to Carolyn Flack, who did commit suicide. Again, here we are. One person losing their hair. It just... And this is the person that the British press have been protecting. This is the person, even an MP is tweeting about her support for him and how brave he was to be able, to say what he said on his show, basically denying and claiming that it's other people trying to destroy GB News. Even though the investigation into him started long before GB News came into existence. GB News wasn't around 3 years ago when this investigation into him started. But this investigation could take out GB News, which I hope it does, because they are just a right-wing nutcase, lying, abusive news. They're not even news. They don't, the press associations, they don't consider GB News as news, even though the Tory party has been actively feeding them, including having a party for specifically GB News and Dan Wootton and the rest of them. Because this new so-called news outlet promotes the Tory propaganda. It is really, really sick what is happening in the UK with this. They are actively protect, and in a lot of ways, I look at it the way how the royal family so-called protects Prince Andrew. They're not. What they're doing is protecting themselves, because I tell you, Dan Wootton, as spiteful and bitter and despicable as he is, if Dan Wootton goes down, the rest of them are going down. And that is what they're protecting. And it's the same with Andrew. That's the reason why the royal family cannot kick Andrew to the curb, because Andrew knows where the bodies are buried. If Andrew goes down, he'll take the rest of them down with him. And I believe the same thing with Dan Wootton. That's why they're protecting themselves. Whether they were a party to it, whether they just knew it and didn't do anything, or they have been victims of it and they're too embarrassed to say, because, maybe they were caught, as some of these victims are here, that, it will may destroy their life or their family. So they are too embarrassed to say, and that's the sick part of this, because a lot of them are not going to say because they were engaged in, he got them in compromising situations, which could damage their reputation and their families, and they wouldn't want to say. I can understand that, but then they let him off. And so it just, it is just so reprehensible, this stuff, And Hactoff, who is Hugh Grant, they work, this is part of what Hugh Grant does, along with, supporting like Prince Harry. They are, in Byline Times and stuff, they have been really working for press reform. They are also, obviously, Hugh is also suing the Sun because they hacked him, and suing them because he alleged that they broke into his home and all of this stuff. So he is also has a court case against them. But this is what Hactoff says. Commenting, Hactoff CEO Nathan Sparks says, if all these allegations are true, Sun's publisher News UK and Mail publisher DMGT will all have serious questions to answer about what they knew about the allegations and what steps, if any, they took to investigate them. If yet another scandal has been allowed to fester in the newsrooms and executives of these publishers, this This adds further weight to the argument for Leveson Part 2, which would have tackled the cover up culture across the press and which the government abandoned after surrendering to furious lobbying by newspaper industry. This is the opportunity for those parties who believe in holding powerful institutions to account and protecting ordinary people to commit to re-establishing Leveson Part 2, which is what Hugh Grant has been fighting for, which is what Prince Harry has been fighting for. More and more people are understanding now why Harry is in court fighting this. Fighting for Leveson Part 2, fighting for press reform. So it is seriously, seriously sick. What has been going on in the UK? It just, yes. Let's see what else. And I love our squaddies. We will find things that nobody else would find. I love it. One of our scrubbies, DV Original, she found this old tweet of Dan Wootton claiming that his phone was stolen by a gang of 3 hooded men while walking among the throng of tourists at the Tower Bridge, so close to London City Hall. Is shocking. That's what he tweeted in 29. She's like, Dan Wootton is gonna come and do something like this, claiming like maybe his phone was stolen and some person decide to create Martin branding or something like that. He's gonna come with something like that. So I love that squaddies find these old tweets and it's like, but she's also saying, forensic examination of Wootton's digital device will quickly prove that Dan Wootton, Martin Branning, and Maria Joseph, oh yeah, that was another alias of his, Maria Joseph, pretending like he was a woman on Facebook to get, explicit photos, are one and the same. So don't be surprised to see a repeat of this stunt he pulled back in 2019 exactly. All they have to do is look at his device and look at the device history. But again, according to reports, he was using untraced numbers. So I'm sure he has a bunch of different phones that he was using that is not traced, that you couldn't trace the numbers. So who knows if he has them or if he just got rid of them, but don't be surprised. They can all, hey, a lot of things, if they really investigate this, and again, how many of these people went to the police? And I mentioned that in the last episode about how many of these people that said they're victims of Dan Wootton that went to the police. And I even brought up, Levi Davis, who, again, I don't know if there's a connection, but the patterns are exactly the same as how Martin Branning, how he preys on people and what he does and to get stuff from them. The patterns are there. And all of these people, including the 2 that have, in the last week are on Twitter and talked about, what their experience with Dan Wootton is, including the ones that Byline Time talked about. They all went to the police. And the police did nothing. And I talked about in a couple of episodes ago about the same pattern of the police not addressing this issue, like they're covering it up, pushing it under a rug, whether it's Prince Andrew, which they refuse to open the case, whether it's Hugh Edwards, where they're like, oh, no, there was no criminality, or Dan Wootton or whomever. When you're rich, you're white, you're powerful, it seems like they are pushing it under the rug. So it is just like, I'm like, the police, and one of the things that Byline Investigates says is that they, I think it was a 30-page dossier that they handed over to the Metropolitan Police. Will the police do anything about this? It's yet to be seen. But if they investigated and investigate his phone records from back then, which they should still have and should still be in existence, I'm sure they could make some kind of a connection. So anyways, very, very, very interesting stuff. Well, we'll get to that one in a second. But I'm going to jump in the chat to see what you guys are saying. That was a lot of information. I am just going to see what you guys are saying about it. Phyllish babe. I have not seen you here before. Welcome. Says Karma is serving Dan Wootton a full plate of tacky and the side of hot mess he deserves. I love that. Karma has pulled up a seat and Karma is sitting right there and serving Dan Wootton. I love it. Serving a full plate of tacky and a side of hot mess. That is what he deserves. Here, here, fellish babe. I totally agree. Let's see. Tashmak says, oh, she's talking to Root Lopez. Yes, the Rangers have to hold on to whatever lie they can to make their mediocre case. Sometimes something she will never be. How sad a person has to copy others for attention. I have not been paying attention, so I don't even know what she copied this time. But again, you know, imitation, form of flattery, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Ruth says, Meghan, oh, she's talking to Sylvia. Meghan saved Harry and she's still paying for it. Murdoch and the rest of the media sadists are still determined to destroy Meghan's life. And for what? Money and power? They are evil. Control. Control. The British press have never really been able to not control someone. They have always been able to control their prey. They've always been able to dictate that person's future, career, their life, how people see them, their success. That's how, you know, Prince Harry talks about in an Oprah that the British press, it's like controlled by fear. And he talked about how the royal family fear the British press. It's like, and Hugh Grant talked about it's one of these, it's like a protection racket. I have stuff on you and I will blackmail you and control you. But in the press, as long as I can control you, I will say all the nice things about you. So I will protect you as long as you keep feeding me stuff. You got to give me stuff. And in states of the royal family, like Prince, you know, William, they fed Meghan to them. And notice how Dan Wootton, you know, he was the one who first wrote about the allegations of Prince William's extracurricular activity with someone who has a rose garden. And so he was the one. And then as soon as he wrote that, all of a sudden, Dan Wootton started getting all of these exclusives, negative quote unquote exclusives about the Sussexes. And that article that he wrote about Prince William's extracurricular rose garden activities, that article went away. And all of a sudden, Dan became Prince William's best friend. All the glowing articles you can find. I mean, talk about bow down and kissing Prince William's feet. It's the protection racket. But he has something on Prince William. Because again, he was the one that got that scoop about Prince William's extracurricular activities, that protection racket happening there. And he has not been able to control the Sussexes. So him and like Piers Morgan doing the same thing, they have not been able to control Harry and Meghan's life, their whereabouts. They have not been able to control the gossip. They have not been able to control their success. Nothing. And so he has been attacking and abusing and attacking and abusing, all in an effort for control. The British press has not been able to control the Sussexes, and that's why we are where we are. The royal family, they operate the same way. It's all about control. They need to dictate to you what your life is going to be, and if they can't do it, they will kill you. It's unbelievable what you say. We see it over and over with the British press. They will bully you until either someone take you out or you take yourself out. It's the same pattern. Unbelievable. Shirley Kearney says this is where the judge and Prince Harry's attorney needs to have the judge to call these people out, and Prince Harry should win all cases. Well, from your lips to the Lord's ears, I hope he does win all of his cases, because there's no one else. I mean, the judge's, you know, his judgment is the only thing that, you know, is the really the only thing that holds the press to any kind of account. When you think in terms of the IPSO and stuff. I mean, they don't even do slap on the wrist. They have to improve to get to slap on the wrist. There's nothing. So the only thing that holds the press to account in any way is the courts. So yeah. And again, what I said about they will kill you with the royal family and that. Again, we have no evidence that, especially with the royal family, we know at least I know what I think about what happens with Princess Diana, even though we don't have evidence. I don't have evidence that they literally killed her. I don't have any of that stuff. So I have to say alleged, because again, I don't have any evidence for that. But we've seen where, with the tabloids, we've seen people literally take their life because of the bullying. So yeah, so I have to just clarify that. Let's see. Wendy Lohman says, Terry, exactly. The double standard is spool ridiculous. I'm assuming you're talking about the press double standard. If not, then let me know. Let's see. Anne Louise says, I believe the Queen gave Harry documents on the quiet to go over the newspaper who held her family ransom for decades. Well, she definitely approved. I mean, I would think Harry got some documents from her, but she definitely approved Harry taking the son to court, suing them because she tried to do it. Rebecca Brooks basically gave her the hand, and basically held her off for so long. So the Queen definitely approved Harry doing it, until Charles overrode both of them. So yeah. Let's see. Terry says Willie is coming to the US in September for his Earth flop, and it seemed like he's coming alone. Why is the outcry? Where is the outcry about their divorce? Of course, there will be none. Of course, it only happens if when the Sussexes do things. They have to be stuck together everywhere they go, because if they're not, they're obviously separating, obviously. But when William and Kate does it, oh no, Kate is home taking care of the kids, they're in love, that whole sort of thing. Unbelievable. Let's see. Sylvia says, Black Queen, talking to Black Queen. Nobody's talking to me. I'm just inside your conversations. Black Queen, you're so right. It breaks my heart that Meghan had such a beautiful life. Harry and Meghan fell in love, and as Harry said, they never wanted him to marry. It's sad. Yeah, they wanted him to be a third wheel, and they needed that third wheel buffer for William and Kate. Now they use their kids, it seems, as that buffer, because whatever it is that's going on there. But they needed Harry. Now they are basically, as we've seen, they're basically grooming the little one to take over for Harry. If they're doing literally the same thing that they did to Harry when he was growing up, they're doing that to a 4-year-old. It is unbelievable. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you allow the press to do that to your child. It boggles the mind. But that's what they do. Unbelievable. And their fans love it. Oh, he's so cute. Yeah. Until he, becomes an adult and he's used as a foil for the, the air or never mind. Moving on. None of our business. Our faves, our little ones are under their tree. So none of our business. Let's see. Ruth Lopez says, Tash, when Kate goes out alone, they praise her as if she's invented radio. Fools, talking to fools. It's so funny you mentioned radium. I did a play once about radium, and there was a time back in the day when it was discovered that this was a good thing. They used to have radium, drinks and all of that stuff, not realizing how deadly that thing is. And it just... We'll talk about that another time, but so many young women, when they used to use radium to do that glow in the dark thing, so many women who used to do that, they used to work in factory, and they, it was a great time because they had jobs for the first time. They were first time coming out of their homes, and then radium killed all of them because of its toxicity. And it just, yeah, that was a lesson in history for me. And the reason why we have rights now as workers, where we one get time off, we get medical, you can get sick time and all of that thing. And I think one of the reasons we're able to sue a company if you get injured on the job and whatever is because of these women. They had to go to court to fight for those rights back then. And that's why we're able to get that today, especially when it comes to suing a company if you got injured on the job, because that's what they had to do. They had to fight tooth and nail to get that, because when they got sick, the company was at fault. And so, yeah, it's a really incredible history. Telling you, this country has some kind of history, man. Let's see what else. And Lewis says, I hope they investigate the black rugby players who highlighted these activities and he mysteriously disappeared. Yeah, Levi Davis. I hope so. I really hope, because again, Levi said that he went to the cops and the Metropolitan Police. And next thing you know, the Metropolitan Police leaked back that all the information that he gave them in a private interview went back to his abuser, the person who was blackmailing him. And that's why I thought it was somebody from the tabloids, because we know of tabloid reporters, their relationship with the toxic Metropolitan Police. And also, not only did all of his private interview with the Metropolitan Police leak back to the person who was blackmailing him, they also blagged his medical information from the NHS. Who does blagging? Who have we been talking about that's been blagging people's information? The tabloids. And so that's for me when I said, if I was Levi Davis' family, where I would start looking about especially that blackmail of him, would be the British tabloids. Specifically, I start with the Daily Mail, because again, he did that very curious interview with the Daily Mail, talking about, basically coming out, as bisexual and all of that stuff with the Daily Mail. And I'm like, if you're a black man whose life is falling apart, where you are being blackmailed and all of that stuff, knowing the Daily Mail's history of destroying especially black people, black male, why would you give the Daily Mail that kind of an interview? Why would you tell them your personal history and you're the most personal thing? Why would you choose the Daily Mail? Unless the Daily Mail is the one that was instigating that whole thing. Again, I don't have any evidence for this, but for me, that's what makes sense. When I'm looking back at, of how the Daily Mail operates, I'm like, what black person do you know would go there and just sort of pour out their deepest, darkest secret to somebody at the Daily Mail? The very Daily Mail that destroys black people. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. The only thing that makes sense to me is if the Daily Mail was instigating this whole thing, whomever those reporters are, So I hope they investigate. I really do hope they investigate it. So, and again, I don't have evidence that it's attached to associated with Martin Branning, but would I be shocked? No, because guess who was at the Daily Mail or the Mail Online? Online is Dan Wootton. That's where he's been working when Levi Davis disappeared last year. So again, no evidence, but the similarities of those events, you can't unsee it. So yeah. Let's see. Going on. Penny C says, hello, you said it. I think Andy is behind some of those leaks. I'm telling you, would I be shocked at that? No, not at all. I wouldn't be shocked at any of this stuff. Let's see. Ruth says, there is a multi-generational moral rot in the royals and their propaganda media. They can't fix themselves. The power is held by those most attracted to the moral debauchery they wallow in. Or they blackmail each other. That's what this all, look at look at all the people that are basically silent. It's like they're terrified to say anything because, again, when you've been doing this stuff for 10 years, who knows what he has on them? You know, it is, again, protection racket. Even the Prince Harry said it, you know, the royal family are shaking in their boots because what the tabloids have on them, you know? So yeah, whether you're attracted to it or not, when, you know, if somebody is blackmailing you, whatever, but again, like you said, Ruth, a lot of them are attracted to it. And if you're not going, you know, look at what they do to Omed, you know, because Omed would not, you know, join in their craziness and in the talk about debauchery. Look at what they do to him. Unbelievable. The abuse he is taking, especially from people like Dan Wootton and the other one from the Daily Mail, Richard Eden. Constant abuse. So unbelievable. Lydia's a work. Let's see. Little Max says, Harry gone to England and Africa without Meghan. I think she's working. She was working on archetypes. The media love to make mountains out of molehills. Nothing said about Kate's solo engagement or how Will treat her. Exactly. I mean, they wouldn't. Again, it's the, you know, the hypocrisy, the double standard with the, you know, Kate and William would do something and it's fine, obviously. I mean, we've seen the pattern how many years now? You know, when they do something, it's fine. If the Sussexes do it, it's, like you said, mountain out of a molehill. And says, it seems Murdoch and his cronies strategically position people or compromise people so they can sell smart and profit off people's stress and misery, which is exactly what they're doing. And the thing about this is, I mean, we talk about it all the time. The people of the UK bear the brunt of this as well, because the Sun and the Daily Mail are the largest selling newspapers and most popular news outlets in the UK. They couldn't do what they were doing if people didn't buy it, if people weren't sharing it, if people weren't giving them money for it. They wouldn't be able to do it. They cannot be the number one news outlets without people using and consuming what they're selling. And the people of the UK and others outside of the UK bear the brunt of all of this stuff. Obviously, along with the news outlets. And they participate in the misery of their own people. Because for a lot of people, the tabloids is their, they, buy a pint or get some tea and sit down and read their tabloids because, we got to look at the private lives or the smut about some celebrity's life to make myself feel better. That's their entertainment. And God forbid you try to take that entertainment away from them. So the tabloids couldn't do what they're doing if the people of the UK weren't buying it, and now outside of the UK as well. So yeah, and so if we're sharing and clicking and liking and all of that stuff, whether it's the tabloids, whether it's paparazzi, whatever, then we have to see, like, look, we participate in the culture, and we participate in them abusing people. Let's see. Sylvia says, Shocking the Cookies and Cream and Black Queen are awesome moderators. Thank you for recognizing our awesome moderators. All squatties, we must continue to pray for the Sussex's family and Miss Doria without cease. Doria is in pain seeing her daughter being treated like this for years. I mean, as a mom, of course, nobody would want to see their child be treated like this. I mean, unless you're one of those crazy Markles and you join in that. But yeah, nobody would want to see their child treated like this. So yeah, definitely we need to keep praying for them because, I mean, Harry and Meghan are strong, but they're human beings. Nobody want to be attacked like this on the daily. So yeah. Shirley, hi Shirley. Shirley said the sad thing, Belle, is that there. Oh, somebody's talking to me. Hello, thank you, Shirley. Is that there is power in numbers, but not only that, those people are truly afraid of those people if they speak up and out, and nothing to. They have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain. Yeah. Um, there are people in the media truly afraid to speak up. I mean, I saw a report from ITV that what's his name, who interviewed Harry. Um, oh, all of a sudden I can't even think of his name. For Spare, who interviewed him. Actually, he's a friend of Harry's. And if you saw the way his report for when he was reporting on Dan Wootton the other night, it was just so timid. And so we don't want to say the wrong thing. We don't, he didn't say that, but you could see they were just sort of sidestepping any of the allegations. And it was just like, are you serious? Tom Bradby, it was the one, and also Rachel Barry, who we've been following her tweets because she's been the in court reporter for ITV. So I followed a lot of her tweets when Harry was in court, and it was the same thing. Yeah, Bradby. Yes, Tom Bradby. Thank you, Anne and Thierry. She said Tom Bradley, but Tom Bradby. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's amazing how timid they both were in reporting out. It's like they were terrified of the allegations, it seemed, and they basically just kept their whole focus on Dan Wootton claiming that he is innocent of it. It's unbelievable. Let's see. Oh, Black Queen, thank you, our awesome moderator. Thank you so much, Black Queen, for your support. I appreciate. Thank you, thank you. Um, let's see. Aw, thank you, Lit Lane. Lit Lane's like, hello there. Hope everyone is well despite the madness of the UK. Yeah, I mean, that's look, guys, this is a lot of whole mess. So I am hoping that you guys, and I know that there are a lot of different platforms and podcasts that talk about this. Please, please, please take a break. It just, even the last, and again, I haven't been able to post, and not because I was say taking a break, but doing my stuff with my kids, but just the mental break of focusing on somebody else. And then it's been such a joy working on different projects and art projects with the kids. It has helped my mind so much, because when I doing this kind of research, I have to read some really horrible negative stuff, and I have to discard a lot of them, because I'm like, this is just, I mean, and what I'm talking about is just disgusting, a lot of it. And imagine some of the things I don't talk about and that I have to read to wade through to get to some of this stuff. So it could do negative stuff to your mental health. And so for me, even though I'm like, oh, I missed the podcast, I missed doing it, but it's kind of like it's been a good break, so that like my mind could clear and I could focus on something else. And it has been really helpful to my mental health to be able to focus on something else. So even though I'm like, no, but I want, it's like, no, it's actually a good thing. So I pass on the same thing. Please take a break sometimes from this stuff, because it is, a lot of it is just so negative that it definitely will do negative stuff to us. So take a moment, breathe. You could, I mean, the podcasts are always there. It's just going to be there. You can always, you can listen to it a month from today. It'll be there, unless YouTube goes away or something, it'll just be on the platform. So yeah. So I highly recommend taking breaks with this mess. Cynthia Ashton says, hi, Pedal, and Pedal. Oh, she poor Pedalettes. I thank God that Meghan said she did not sign an NDA. I know, right? I know. So she is not restricted from saying anything. And I am so happy one day she might just, say the whole, I mean, we know that, even just listening from Tyler Perry, that she didn't say all she could have said. And, Tyler was like, yeah, she was such a classy lady. She didn't say all of it. And maybe one day she will. And thank God, yeah, Cynthia, that she didn't sign it, so she's not restricted from saying anything. So yeah. Let's see. Scroll scrolling up and down to see what y'all saying. We'll stay in the chat for a bit. Rochelle says, has Byline Investigates released part 2 and 3? Okay, so it's not Byline Investigates, it's Byline Times. And Byline Times just dropped part 2. I read a little bit of part 2 earlier. So yeah, it's online right now. So not Byline Investigates, it's a Byline Times. So Google Byline Times and you should see part 2. And it's mostly about bullying, Dan Wootton bullying staff at least the part that I read. I didn't read the other parts because I didn't want to read the whole article. That would not be fair on them. And so I'll put the link in the show notes. I'll also put it in our community page so that we can read it. So yeah. So yeah. I'm assuming maybe we'll get part 3 tomorrow or maybe next week. So we will see. Let's see. Scrolling up. Sylvia says, she's talking to Teresa. I agree. Just to see your daughter being lied on daily is in such a hateful way. Meghan was a millionaire when she married Harry. Exactly. And it's so funny with Suits being out and people discovering Suits. One of the things that there's like this constant refrain, because it's like people are realizing that some of the narrative around Meghan, that she can't act, and all of this stuff, they're realizing that a lot of it is just lies. And so people are calling these things out, and and this whole narrative, that Meghan married Harry for money and all of that stuff. And of course, Harry talked about that in Spare, that Meghan is the one that was buying furniture and all of that stuff. And so Meghan came in with her own stuff. And it just, slowly but surely, people are learning the truth and realizing, oh, wait, Harry and Meghan were telling the truth. Yes. So, let's see. Oh, wait, there was an Alan Vernon did a donation. I didn't see it. Oh, here it is. Thank you, Lydia, our awesome moderator, for alerting there. I didn't see that one. Alan, thank you so much. He says, if Dan Wu had his phone stolen, how did he tweet that message whenever it happened? I guess he got another phone. Yes, I'm telling you, don't be shocked if that becomes part of his defense. Oh, somebody stole it and created the Martin Brannan thing. Don't be shocked. I mean, the one thing about the UK is that they would come up with the stupidest thing, and they know that people would believe it. Some of the things you're like, I cannot believe y'all literally believe that, and they do. They know their audience. So yeah, unbelievable. Let's see. Let's see. Thanks, Sylvia. Sylvia's like, but you're right. It's not good to listen to negativity all day, every day. No. And one of the things that I try to do, try to spend more time on on social media. I love being on social media, but I'm trying to spend more time on Spoutable now. It's a completely different culture there, and it's none of the nonsense that you find on Twitter is there. I mean, you can read the articles, but there's no trolling or any of that stuff. So I spend a lot more time on Spoutable, who now has an iOS app. I'm telling you, you guys, if you love to be on social media, I do, and you're on Twitter, and Christopher Boozy is doing such a great job. I mean, we have been on this thing since before Spoutable. Even, we've been with Christopher Boozy since he was started investigating the trolls attacking Meghan. And now he has created Spoutable, which is being mentioned in article with Twitter, with new social media apps that Zuckerberg, and also what's his name, who used to own Twitter before he sold it to Elon Musk. They all have new platforms, and Spoutable is mentioned in the same bracket. And some things that Spoutable have, their new platforms don't even have it. And now Spoutable has both Android and iOS apps. And it's just like, Chris, I'm telling you, I am so proud of Chris. And it's Black owned. And people have tried attacking this platform in so many ways. And it is just like Spoutable is growing, it is getting better. And I am just like, this is my commercial for Spoutable. So if you love social media like I do, especially like a Twitter version, Spoutable is the closest to it, but no trolling. And that's what I love. It's totally different culture. So yeah, I mean, there are others too, that you can join, but I'm telling you, I'm just so proud that to see it in news article mentioned in the same, the same article and in the same vein as the others. So, and now a lot of features that the others still don't have. So, and Spoutable has such a small staff too, and so they're doing great. So, very very proud of Christopher Boozy. Let's see. More staying in the chat. Teresa McDowell says, Sylvia, as a mother, we can't imagine what Daria is going through, of the hate of her daughter, grandchildren. It's sad to watch. I mean, it breaks your heart. It really, really, really breaks your heart. I mean, I'm not a mother, but I mean, I could imagine if I had a daughter, nobody would want to see their daughter be, have to deal with the things that Meghan has to deal with. And people have this like, she's strong and she's up, but yes, but she's also human. You know, she is also human. So there you go. Please post the site address. Oh, Penny C, are you talking about Byline Investigates? You know what? Give me a second. Let me jump on Twitter and get it. Or if any one of you can jump on Twitter and post it, that would be really helpful. Byline Investigates site with the new article. That would be fine as well. So if no one does, I will post it in the chat. Or when I'm done, I will definitely post it in our show notes, so you can click it on there under show notes. So let's see. Sylvia says, what I'm finding is some of the older trolls and haters have not read Spare nor watched Harry and Meghan docuseries because they're truly unhinged how they speak of Meghan, some 70 years old. I think, even if they read Spare, they wouldn't believe it, because I see them as, like in the US, we have those people, those Trump supporters. It doesn't matter you can put the truth can literally be a dumbbell and hit them over the head and they still wouldn't believe it. They refuse to believe it. And so some people, even if they read it, even if they watched it, and I'm sure a lot of them watched it, Harry and Meghan's docuseries, they will look for the negatives. They will not believe what they said. They will look for it to find something to criticize the Sussexes for. It's the same thing that the tabloids have done. They've all watched it. They've all read it. And yet they have read it so they can twist it. And so that's kind of how, so yeah. I don't think, maybe very few of them who, I saw like a couple of people on Twitter saying after they've read it, they've changed their mind, but you never know if that's true or not, or if they were just, trolling. But the majority of them, even if they read it, they're not going to believe it. So yeah. Thank you, Lydia. Lydia has put in the chat, the Byline Times article. I'm going to pin this, Lydia. Oh, it's not letting me pin it. That's wild. Okay, let's start and see. Okay, I put a star next to it. Thank you, Lydia. She put the article there. It's in the chat, so go ahead and click. Thank you, Lydia. That's the Byline Times article. Again, it's different from Byline Investigates. Byline Investigates is the one we were talking about before. Graham Johnson used to write for Byline Times, and then he had kind of a falling out with the other writers at the other I guess founders of Byline Times, and then he broke away from there and then started Byline Investigates. So the original article that talked about Dan Wootton um, paying the boyfriend of a royal household to get private information about the Sussexes, that was done by Byline Investigates. When they did that, apparently Byline Times started investigating, because that was 3 years ago. Byline Times said they started investigating 3 years ago Dan Wootton. So they picked it up, and now they're the ones that did this exclusive. And it's really great because I saw Byline Investigates retweeting Byline Times article. So it's great. They seem to be working together. So on that, at least, so that's awesome. So yeah. And Byline Investigates is the one, again, with Graham Johnson. He is the one that testified for Prince, on the side of Prince Harry, at the mirror court case that just happened recently. So yeah, very interesting. That's happened. Let's see. Again, Penny C, check the chat. It's starred, and that is what Lydia. Thank you, Lydia, our awesome moderator, just posted it. So yeah. Let's see. Lydia says, Christopher Busey is amazing. I am telling you, I am so proud of him. I am so proud of him. And to see this all started from him, investigating and doing reports on the trolls. And the squad has been with him, supporting him, advertising, and then with the squad and others of his supporters, really, we all participated in building Spoutable, because with everything from the logo, from what we want on the platform, to the colors, to all of it, it was done with him surveying all of us, and all of us giving input as to what we want, what we didn't want, how we wanted, all of it, including the name Spoutable. We all came up with it. And so it is just wonderful. And, there's no, $1 million investment. It is funded by us giving our $5 donations to Spoutable, and to see where it is today, and to see, it's just like, it is amazing, and he's done like a few of the those chats on Twitter with squaddies, and explaining, talking about his reports against trolls and all of that stuff. And also too, when he started Spoutable, what to expect and all of that stuff. We were with him through all of the bugs and working out how Spoutable, when it was, we all got to go in and test it out, and it's just been amazing to see it grow into where it is now. It is amazing. And then of course it was attacked and all of that stuff, and we were like fighting back, and it is just, I am so proud of what he is doing, and his team, and the fact that they, slowly but surely, and I'm glad they just released the iOS app of, what is that, 3-4 days ago. And it just, like, they took their time, they developed it, make sure it worked, even on time that it went down because there were too many people we lived through the whole of it. And to see where it is now, and it's growing and it's getting stronger, and they're getting more. So, it's wonderful to see it. And so I just was like, so proud. So very proud. Sherry's like, definitely getting on Spoutable. It is definitely, if you're on Twitter and you go over there, it's a completely different climate. And again, there is no algorithm, so there is no trolling. There is no something that will sit there trending where everybody can go and, pile on a person or any of that stuff. You try piling on, you'll get kicked off Spoutable in like a second. So trolling is not tolerated at all. So yeah, I love it. So yeah. They should pay me for this. I'm like, Spoutable, I'm doing a commercial for you. So yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about me, but maybe not. And if you are, thank you, Ruth. Let's see. Some more of your tweets. I'm just going to stay in the chat. Let's see more of what you guys are saying. Ruth, I think you're it. That's good. Drew says Tyler Perry said that Meghan could have said so much more, but she is way too classy, and I think you can add discipline to that. Yes, I am so impressed with Meghan's self-discipline. Hello, hello, so true. Let's see. Um, let's see. Going down. Dansby says, I've been suspended from Twitter for a fight with a deranger, so I am unspoutable more now. Well, that's good. And it's so weird with Twitter because these trolls, like the derangers, they will say the nastiest thing about Meghan and still have their account. And you say something, and next thing you know, you're the one that's being banned or, suspended. And they would say the most awful things against the Sussexes, and they still have accounts. Unbelievable. When Christopher Boozy put out his report, quite a few of them got suspended. And then when Elon Musk came back, a lot of them got back their accounts. Unbelievable. So yeah, Twitter is like a mess, and everyone keeps saying it's going down. So yeah. Cookies and Cream, our awesome moderator, says the Unroyals are hoping to get Harry back so that they're not going to go back. So they're not going to go, but so hard on him. Meghan is their target, and they want Meghan, Archie, and Lily totally annihilated. Yeah, they definitely don't. At least their supporters, they definitely don't want Harry and Meghan and Meghan, Archie, and Lily. Or some of them are like, Harry should take the kids and just get rid of Meghan. These people are. I'm telling you, I don't understand this. I honestly don't understand the UK culture. I don't get it. I don't understand how you could be that way. Like, you literally advocating for a man to just literally cut off his family just so you can sit there and do what? He should cut them off and come back and do what exactly? Like, I don't even understand it. So, anyways, Penny C says, thank you. Funny, I said something about Tucker. It was true, but Fox sent me a warning. They said about Tucker Carlson, with all the mess that Tucker Carlson has said, they are sending you a warning about something. Anybody, like literally anybody said something about Tucker, with all the things that Tucker Carlson has said and done. That is unbelievable. I'm telling you, unbelievable. Utterly unbelievable. It's just amazing. Yeah, that's what it's saying. Yeah, Black Queen, they are terrible and they say the most nastiest things, comments, but they never get suspended. No, they don't. They don't. It's unreal. Let's see. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Who do you mean? It's like, has he returned to Twitter? I know the haters banned him a few weeks back. Who do you mean? Who got banned on Twitter, Lydia? I'm not sure who you mean. Let's see. Scrolling up. See what else you're saying. And Louis says, that is heartless. Harry to take the kids. So what about Meghan's feeling as a mother? They don't care. They don't see Meghan as human. That's been clear for forever. They don't consider her a human being. She has no feelings for them. She's not human. It's like, I'm telling you. They would swear up and down, however, that they're not racist in any way, shape, or form, obviously. Hi, Karen Warner. Karen says, hi, Pedal was in a meeting but was listening. Couldn't wait for the meeting to be over. Such a great podcast. You always bring it and fix the six. I don't know what that means, but I'm glad you're here. I am happy you're here, Karen Warner. So happy. I mean, I just missed you all. I really did miss you guys. Um, but my time with my kids, even though I love them, my time with them is ends in a couple of weeks, so I'll be here a lot more. Hopefully, more pleasant things and talking about the Sussexes, which I rather be doing, talking about their work. I rather be talking about their work than any of this mess. But it is what it is. So yeah. But another thing that's happening actually is this. Away from Dan Wootton and his mess for a minute. Belize, we remember when Prince William landed his helicopter in Belize and these people's property without asking I think it's what's the Mayan people, I think. He landed their helicopter without asking permission or getting permission from them. And they were like, get off our property. And especially because he's a patron of the, what is it, the fauna and whatever the charity conservation group is called, that was next door to these people land, who are basically taking their land and not making, and they can't have access to the land. So they already had that issue with them. And then Prince William, who is a patron of that, landed his helicopter and they were like, get off our land. And then they had to cancel, that engagement with those people, and they did it elsewhere. But Belize, that was in Belize. That was the first thing when they had their protest sign. I mean, there was like, I don't know, 12 people, but their voices were heard, protesting William and Kate's visit to their country. But though now they have decided, because the Queen, obviously, the Queen was on their money, and they have decided to kick the royals off. And so this was what their currency was like, their money was like. And so now they are putting these two gentlemen inside, instead of the royals on their money. So I'm like, good for them. It says Belize dollar bill will soon bear new images, and it will not be King Charles III of the UK, the United Kingdom, in the country's new head of state following the passing of, it would not be King Charles of the United Kingdom, UK, the country's new head of state following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. While the face of the late Queen graces Belizean currency notes, the images, as per the government, for the upcoming new batch will include that of national heroes, the late Right Honorable father of Belize independence, George Cadley Price, and the father of democracy, the late Honorable Philip Goldson. So the Belize people want their own people on their money. They're kicking the royals out. And so good for them. I mean, of course, there are some in Belize that are not happy because, they're the older generation who are partial to the royal family. They still feel like, even though the royals do nothing for them and mostly take, they are still partial to them, and so they're not feeling it. But the majority of people are like, oh, no, we want our own people, our own great people from our country to be on our dollar bill or our money. So it is really it's good to see. It is really, really, really good to see that that they are doing that. It says some of Pedro residents agree. Hang on 1 second so I can add a little bit bigger. So islanders weigh in on the decision to remove British monarch from currency notes. Some San Pedro residents agree with highlighting Belize national heroes in the new currency notes. Then they shared that it is time to acknowledge those who fought for this country and move on to become more independent. These islanders supporting this new move by the government says it is time and age. In this time and age, Belize needs to focus more on its people and heritage and honor the national heroes while keeping close with our former colonizers and allies. Yeah, you keep them close. Yeah, They said keep your enemies closer. I guess that. But again, some of them are happy with this. Not all, as in with all countries, but enough of them are voted for this so that they are moving forward with their own people and their money. Kudos to Belize. Kudos. I wish more people. Oh, sorry. Belize is a country, not an island. Sorry. Belize, the country. I don't think I knew that. So thank you. So yeah, so they are doing their thing and very happy for them. So yes, moving forward. And I know that they are also pursuing becoming a republic. We look forward to it. So what else do I have? Invictus preparation for Invictus. This is so cool. One of the I think Boothy is what her name is on Twitter. It's like, well, here she is. Hang on one second. Well, here she is, my new chair for Invictus. Huge thanks. Thank you to this site, this Queen Tech, for supporting me in my recovery journey. I think the guys at Roma Medical have done an amazing job. Thank you. Can't wait to try her out this weekend. And that's the new wheels. And I guess it's a participant going to Invictus Games in obviously in Dusseldorf. So, and I love the fact that it's painted in the Invictus colors. So they get their new wheels. So maybe they're participating in wheelchair volleyball or I'm sorry, wheelchair basketball or something. So looking forward to see. It's really awesome. Again, you wish someone didn't need it, but since they do, it's good to see them getting new wheels. Awesome. And the American team, they're working on they're getting to the Invictus game. So this is 3 participants from Team US. Yeah, go Team US. First class, Jacob Anthony. Veteran First Lieutenant Ryan Arthur and Lieutenant Commander Alana Bell. They are all part of the U.S. team. Actually, the U.S. team, they were actually part of the Warrior Games that Prince Harry was at in San Diego, a month ago or so. So they were a part of that games. And so they are preparing now for the Invictus game. So go Team U.S. We will definitely be supporting them. So yeah, so cool. That's all I got on that. I'm gonna stay in the chat for a little bit longer. And oh my gosh, it's been over 2 hours we've been gabbing. Whoa, I didn't even realize that. I'm just not looking. It says 2 hours and 11 minutes. Wow. Let's a little bit more, and before we end, I really missed you guys. I miss chatting with you. Let's see. Sylvia says, squad, remember, William and Kate have a guy they hired from NBC, yes, to handle things international. So he probably called in favors from US market to go after Meg, Harry, and Meghan, especially Meghan. People magazine is also royal. Yeah, and a lot of them have the US outlets, that attack the Sussexes. For example, the one right here in New York, the New York Post, is owned by Rupert Murdoch, and I think they still have their British editor. People also has a British editor. I think Dateline as well, if I'm not mistaken, also has a British editor. So yeah, it just, of course. And also to big them up in the U.S. because, not only attack the U.S., but, not only attack the Sussexes, but also big up the Cambridges, or the Wales is now. They keep changing their last name. With titles, they change their last name. The Wales is now because, they want them to be popular, because for them, everything is about popularity. They can't, it's unbelievable. Let's see. Lydia, our awesome moderator, has put the link to the apparel, the Invictus apparel. So they have t-shirts and bags and all of that stuff with the wave from the Rhine River that we talked about, at some earlier episodes. We talked about that. So they have that wave thing. So they have all of this swag from the Invictus shop. So if you're looking for any of that, definitely Lydia just put the link there. And I'm going to put a star next to it there. Thank you, Lydia, for posting the link. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. More, some more before we end. Let's see. Shirley Keeney says they're all intimidated of Meghan. Meghan is what the alleged English so-called Rose is not. Meghan has class. She has the so-called Rose is not. Meghan has her own money. The so-called Rose is a social climber. Talk about very different, very, very, very different. And I mean, we talked about, Kate's parents and their money issues, and it was very eye-opening that they had those issues, because I'm like, doesn't she have her own money? And from the looks of that stuff, I don't think she does. Unbelievable. But we're happy that our Meghan came in with her own money, so she doesn't have to rely on anybody. If Mama Doria needs some, she doesn't have to worry. Her daughter's got some. So there you go. Let's see. Rosa says, William and Kate are analog in a digital age. No amount of PR will endear them to people. I'm telling you. Very true. Very, very true. Thank you so Angela, thank you for being so kind. She's like, you haven't been a lot. Oh, thank you. You never know. It's been 2 hours. So let's see a couple more. Little for Sussex, lit for Sussex, sorry, says, hi pedal mods and squatties, we continue to pray for the Sussexes. Bless the work you are doing. Yes, definitely we need to continue to pray for them. Absolutely. Yeah, because goodness, they need that support emotionally, mentally. I mean, I can't imagine having to deal with that mess. So yeah. Vinny Blair says Murdoch owns so many big newspaper in the U.S. as well as Fox News and TMZ. One could literally watch them change their report on Meghan and Harry over the past 3 years. I'm telling you, he's just. And again, I would never understand why Rupert Murdoch has been allowed to do what he has done. He's basically cornered the market on news reporting, and he also has publishing as well. I think, what is it, Little Brown Book, I think, whichever. And that's the thing, even too. I mean, I love Omid, but his book is published by a Rupert Murdoch publisher, and I was like, I held my nose and purchased the first one, but never again. I love Omid, but the answer for me on that is no. I am not giving Rupert Murdoch money. And so, yeah, whatever that publishing that Omid uses is also Rupert Murdoch's. Again, he's cornered the market. So it's kind of like, even sometimes when you don't want to deal with Rupert Murdoch, you got to deal with him because he owns everything. And so it's really, really ridiculous that that's been allowed to happen. So, yeah. Let's see. Terry says Murdoch's team has worked its way into mainstream America and is very damaging to the Sussex. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could say Fox News is, so-called, well, not really news, but a lot of time they're treated as, especially they are news to the Trumpers as well, But yeah, the anti-Sussex narrative that from Rupert Murdoch and also from the Daily Mail and others have definitely jumped into I mean, we saw that whole thing happen right around the voting for the Emmys with the Wall Street Journal. Well, the Dateline is who started it, and then the Wall Street Journal, and then you see other like Rolling Stones and all of the others that picked up all of that stuff. That ridiculous lying narrative. And again, likes and clicks, engagement on social media has a lot to do with that negativity. That $1 billion I hate Meghan especially narrative definitely has come over, and there are news outlets and reporters desperate for clicks. They jump on it because they give them quick clicks. They give them quick engagement. Unbelievable. Let's see. Let's see. Um, Ruth says, I don't watch any of the gossip shows. They all seem aimed at low demo. Yeah, very good, Ruth. Good for you. Good for you. Stay away from them. There's nothing there that that is for anybody who want anything positive in their life. Stay far away from them. So yes. But anyways, wait, Leslie F is here. Hi, Leslie F. I didn't know you were here. I don't even see her. I only see someone referring to her. But hi, Leslie F. Let's see. Anne Louis says, Leslie F. Murdoch's sons are executive of his industry, but Murdoch monopolized the media in other countries, so can spread propaganda, change government, etc. Yeah, his son actually runs News Corp and stuff. So his son, Lachlan, is the one that runs everything, I guess, much to the chagrin of his other kids. Actually, there was another one of his sons that actually resigned from his companies and is on the what is it, the Aspen group that Harry was on about mis and disinformation. So he is completely not in that family business at all. He's very opposed to it. So yeah, but yeah, his son Lachlan is the one that's been all up in it. So yeah. I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Church Nelly. Hang on one second. Thank you, Anne, for your comment. Lydia, Church Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream, Black Queen. Thank you all so much. Thank you. And because I've been with my kids, I didn't get a chance to finish my list. But to all of you wonderful squaddies who support us, our 2 cents crew who support us monthly. Thank you for supporting the podcast. And for all of you, our wonderful Gold Star supporters, many of you saw in the chat today who have just been supporting financially. Thank you for helping me with my internet, with helping me to pay for the apps that I use to create stuff, to StreamYard, paying for my StreamYard so I can actually use their platform to do a live. All of it costs money, and I appreciate you guys helping me to pay for all of that, and Adobe and all the other platforms that I use to create stuff. So thank you. They're all expensive, and what you support help pay for all of that. So I appreciate you because all of this is yours. So there. So thank you. So have a great day, guys. Since I am, I have no classes tomorrow and today, so I'll be back tomorrow. So have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow, and please take care of yourselves. As you can see the scrolly thing going by, if you're new here or if you just haven't subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button, click like and share the video, and please help us to spread the word so that we can grow, or continue I should say, grow the platform. And if you're able, join our 2 cents crew. That way you support the channel monthly as well. So thank you guys so much again. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time. Bye. Love you all.